Hey, and welcome to the UFC Fight Night conference call. Today's conference is being recorded. At this time, I'd like to turn the conference over to Dave Schaller. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the UFC Fight Night Shogun versus Sonnen media conference call. UFC Fight Night, Saturday, August 17th from the TD Garden on Fox Sports 1. Today we are joined on the call by UFC President Dana White, heavyweight Travis Browne. Joining us here momentarily, Alistair Overeem, and the main event stars Chael Sonnen and Shogun H.E.A.T, who today will be translated by Fernanda Praches. At this time, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Dana White. Dana?
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for calling in. We appreciate it. Obviously, a huge week for us, a huge week for Fox Sports, and we are truly honored to be the sport that they chose to launch Fox Sports 1. There's a lot of things going on in Boston this week, a lot of fun things for the fans, for the fighters, and obviously for me too, being as I came from Boston, lived there for most of my life. So that's it. Well, let me take this one off the table real quick before you start asking questions, because I know everybody's going to ask me about, I heard that they haven't come to a deal with DirecTV and they haven't come to a deal. This is what these guys do. This is what Fox does. They build networks and they negotiate with these different systems. And a lot of times these things go right down to the wire. Am I worried about it? Not one bit. I'm not worried about it. I'm not thinking about it. It's not my concern. It has nothing to. I have no control over this thing. It's not what I do. So whatever happens this week, and that's it. I really have nothing else to say about that. So go ahead. Who has the first question?
If you would like to ask a question, please signal by pressing star 1 on your telephone keypad. If you're using a speakerphone, please make sure your mute function is turned off to allow your signal to reach our equipment. Again, press star 1 to ask a question. And we'll pause for just a moment to allow everyone to assemble the queue. And we'll take our first question from Jeffrey Davis with 411media.com.
Hello there. Thank you for joining us today. First question is for Chael Sonnen. Chael, does it upset you at all that the Culinary Union Local 226 is questioning your moral turpitude and tried to block you from having this fight and affecting your livelihood this week?
It confused me more than it upset me. I didn't know much about it. I got a call, or a text message rather, the day of a hearing that was scheduled by the commission. So I didn't know about it. I didn't have any time to prepare. I got a text message. I called in. I was there to answer questions. I wasn't asked any questions. I was on the phone for less than a minute. So I was very happy that the commission saw it that way. But, it was something that could have caused me a great deal of stress had I known about it.
And for Dana, does it confuse you as well that here we have a labor union trying to affect, the livelihood of professional fighters and trying to keep them from fighting and questioning, making these sort of, I would say, transparent claims when they're, I think it's pretty transparent what they're trying to do here, and they're not really interested in moral turpitude or the UFC not being appropriate for children.
I agree, and it becomes what these guys are doing for the simple fact that they're spending their union members' dues to try to hurt the UFC, which has nothing to do with the union members or whatever it might be. It's so transparent and just so ridiculous. These guys are bad. For instance, what they do is they use different organizations, like on serious issues, whether it's women, gay rights, or whatever it may be. They use these different what's the word I'm looking for? These different organizations. They use these different organizations to try to get what they want. And what they want is station casinos. If they get station casinos, it's another $10 million a year to the union. So they'll use any dirty tactic and spend as much money as it takes to try to get station casinos.
Thank you. And for Travis Browne, I would say this is without a doubt one of the biggest fights of your career. What does it feel like to be in the co-main event of this card against, a big fighter in Alistair Overeem, and what does a win here mean for you?
Yeah, I mean it's a great honor to be a part of this card. You know, they've been talking about FS1 and Boston and how big the card is going to be, and Dana's done a good job of Dana and Joe have done a great job putting each card together, and I'm just happy I get to be a part of it. You know, as far as Alistair goes, you know, he has a fan base. He is a great name fighter, and I look forward to competing against him.
Thank you. And for Alistair Overeem, are you going into this fight with the chip on your shoulder, and do you feel like you have something to prove in this fight after what happened against Antonio Silva?
He's not on the call yet. We're still looking for him.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, guys.
And once again, if you do have a question, please press star 1 at this time. And we'll take our next question from Dave Meltzer with MMA Fighting.
Yeah, this is for Shogun. What I saw that you've been training with Freddie Roach, and I was just wondering, like, what have you kind of like learned, and how is the, how is the application of his boxing into your Muay Thai style, changed, and what kind of things have you kind of improved on, do you think?
Shogun, ele perguntou sobre o Freddie Roach, falou que você tem treinado com ele, perguntou o que você aprendeu, o que o boxe dele te ajudou e acrescentou ao seu estilo já conhecido de Muay Thai, o que te melhorou treinar com ele. Shogun?
And apparently Shogun is disconnected.
Oh.
Okay, let's go back to him, and then Dave we'll circle back on your question for Shogun when he reconnects. He's just arriving into Boston now.
Can I make a quick question for Chael?
Oh, of course.
Yeah. For Chael, you've switched locations as far as training goes. Was there, any specific reason? Was it just work related because you're working a lot in LA, or was it just you wanted to change scenery, and how has that benefited you or changed? You coming into this fight.
I went to practice one day at the same gym I've been at most of my life, and the coach brought me into his office, and he said I lost the gym. He didn't say anything until the 11th hour. He was trying to save it, so there was really no way to jump in and help out. He said we're closing the doors. He's had some health issues and some other stuff in his personal life, and I told him I was sorry. I gave him a hug, and I got on a plane and went to LA.
Oh, okay. So and when was this?
6 weeks ago.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thanks very much.
And we will now go to Dave DeBear with Post Media News.
Hey, thanks, guys, for the time. Dana, it's something I've been wondering about for a while, and I'm not sure if you've ever addressed it. You guys had the history with Fox going back, years ago when you had the special Best Damn
Sports Show period.
Yeah, all that stuff. What during all that time when you guys were potentially looking for network partners, why did it take so long to get back around with Fox?
Well, I think that, when we originally came out and we were pitching this thing, even though when we did that show on the Best Damn Sports Show period, it pulled like the highest number they'd ever pulled. And, it was very successful, but everybody was afraid of it. People weren't willing to keep putting live fights on free TV. They were afraid. And the only way we got it done was by paying for it. We ended up paying for the first season of The Ultimate Fighter, and that's the only reason it got on the air, and then it ended up working out. Then our deal wasn't up. We did a second deal with Spike, and when our deal was up, we were going to do another deal with Spike, but we couldn't come to an agreement, so we had to go out and start shopping. And Eric Shanks, who's the president of Fox Sports, I had actually built a relationship with him over at, he worked for DirecTV. Then he went over to Fox, and that's sort of how it all fell in place.
Okay, all right. Another quick one for you. What with the main event? What happens with either guy with the win? What does the win mean for Mauricio? What's the win mean for Chael?
Well, obviously, a win is a good thing. To get a win, that doesn't hurt. And for Chael Sonnen the last 2 fights that he lost were against 2 of the pound-for-pound best fighters in the world, and he is still considered one of the best 85-pounders in the world. So, a win puts him in a good place, and for Shogun, beating Chael Sonnen puts him in a good place too. Puts them one step closer to a fight that gets them one step closer to another title shot.
All right. Thanks, Dana.
Yeah.
Also, as a note, Shogun has rejoined the call, and Alistair will be with us here in moments.
I'm here. Alistair.
Hey, Alistair, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Good, good. Next, we're going to go to Michael Stetz with SB Nation MMA Mania.
Yeah, I had a question for Alistair now he's on the call. Alistair, with the heavyweight division wide open pretty much, you're coming off a bad loss. Do you feel that a win here gets you another crack at Kane or JDS after they go down in October, or do you think you'll have to fight one more after?
For me, I've just been really focused on my own development. I was recovering from an injury, getting back on track. Made a lot of changes in the camp, in the preparation, and the whole process. So for me, I've just been focused on myself, and for me, it's just important to get that win. I put 100% effort into that, into my preparation, and it's up to the gentlemen of the UFC to decide what they're gonna do next.
And how hard of a loss was that on you mentally? Was it a tough adjustment period? Did you take some time off to reflect on stuff, or did you get back in the gym as fast as possible?
I took some time off to overthink everything. I'm not a person to get depressed and mentally down and this and that. I just think of what needs to be done, and I took my time for that. I was slightly injured, so I couldn't really train 100% anyway, and and then made the changes, went back at it.
Thank you. And a question for Chael. Chael, you said you're going back down to 185 after this fight with Shogun. Why such a quick decision? You've had this will be your second fight at 205. Why not keep it open to fight at both divisions?
Oh, I was really chasing after 2 guys. Chasing after Vitor, and I'm chasing after Vanderlei. And Vanderlei had mentioned right before I had made that decision that he was going back to 185. There wasn't a whole lot of other motivation than that.
All right, thank you.
And once again, if you do have a question, please press star 1 at this time. And we will now go to Zeus King with MMA Opinion.
Thanks for taking the call. For Chael, last time we got to speak, you gave us some free business advice about simplifying our domain name, and we've taken that to heart. And what we've also done is we've also gone after and we're purchasing MMAopinion.co.dr.jp.nl, and we're also getting ChaelPleaseSignin.com, and they'll all redirect you to our site. So I want to say thank you so much for that.
Well done. I remember using this.
Thank you. Do you plan on using your regular high pressure, in your face, grinding style against Shogun, or do you plan on striking with him?
No. I will be going straight ahead, and he will be too. Not only is that how we fight, and I mean I can speak for him as well. We both have our skills, and we're going to bring our skills. But in addition, we're the main event, and you can't play around when you're in the main event. It's going to be a lot of action, whether it's positive or negative. I don't know. We're going to have to. I'm in the same boat as everybody else. I got to tune in and find out as well. But there will not be a feeling out. As soon as they say go, we will.
100%. All right. And then finally, lies been made over the last several years about the way that that you poke fun and had fun at the Brazilians' expense and everything, and and your record's you're not exactly great against Brazilians. You turning it around this time?
Yeah, well, I mean, you got to understand, I wouldn't poke fun at somebody if they were weak. I wouldn't go bully somebody. The fact that those guys have a lot of belts and a lot of history and a lot of good wins behind them is why they became the target. It's the same reason I pick fun and go after the champions, and so should everybody else. I'm not going to sidestep anybody. I'm not going to back down from anybody at any weight. And most importantly, I'm not going to pick on a guy that's weaker or smaller than me. Outside of Vandalay, I never have.
All right. Thank you very much. I'd like to ask a question for Shogun. How's your brother Merlin Ninja doing, and how is the Universidade de Luta?
Ele perguntou como é que tá indo o seu irmão, como é que ele tá aí a Universidade de Luta.
Meu irmão tá muito bem, ele agora virou empresário, comprou um posto de gasolina, então ele fica a maior parte do dia com o posto de gasolina, e na academia ele cuida da DL, ele que administra a marca DL, e também ele dá algumas aulas particulares na academia também, então ele tá sempre comigo do meu lado, sempre me ajudando.
His brother is doing fine. He just bought a gas station, so he's an entrepreneur now. He spends most of the day at the gas station. At the gym, he also helps run the gym. He teaches private lessons. He helps, with administrative things. So he's always next to Shogun, helping him out.
And we will now go to Damon Martin with BleachReport.com.
First question is for Dana. Dana, going into this card, I know you love Boston, it's your hometown, but you guys had to jump through a few more hoops with the whole Social Security issue. And then we know the union is what it is, but the fact that the commission kind of paid attention to it, which I think surprised a lot of people, does that change your outlook on returning to Boston sooner rather than later?
I'd be a liar if I said no.
So would you say that Boston, I know you love Boston, it's a great market, but there's some markets where it's just tougher to go to. Is that pretty much it with them?
No doubt about it. It's a great place to go hang out with my friends and eat, but not a great place to put on fights.
And one more question for you, Dana. The welterweight fight on this card, Matt Brown and Mike Pyle. Matt's been on an incredible run. I believe it's 5 wins in a row. I know there's always that in the mix conversation, but it's hard to ignore that with the win here. Do you see him getting into those top 5 fights? I know it was supposed to be Alves, but it seems like whether it's Condit, Campman, Hendricks, whatever the plays out in the next couple of months, do you see Matt Brown jumping into that top 5 realm with another win?
Yeah, you know what? And Mike Pyle's one of those tough, crafty veterans, man. He's a tough guy to fight. And I actually think it's a big deal, a win over Matt Brown, or Mike Pyle for Matt. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
And we will now go to Francisco Guaman with CombatMundial.com.
Hey, Chill. Is this one of those fights you see this fight as a fight that you need to win on means that you were disappointed against Jones your last time out?
Could you ask that one more time? You cut out partway through. Is this a fight that what?
I'm sorry. I guess my mic wasn't working on its phone. No, my question was because you were disappointed in your last time out against Jones. Do you see this as a must-win, a crossroad fight to get you back into the heat of things?
All fights are a must-win, and I would never. I'd have to try harder in this fight, but I would never try less hard either, due to what happened in a previous match. I'll put everything into this fight, and that's it. That Jones fight drives me nuts, and yeah, I'm going to go fight hard.
If you get past Shogun, and let's say Anderson Silva gets past Weidman in December, do you see that as a fight that you would want to avenge again? I know it would be your third fight against him if you can get that.
Well, if Anderson beats Weidman, they'll go into the rubber match. But I want to fight Anderson either way. regardless of the title. I don't accept the outcome of either of those matches. And, we can fight. It doesn't have to be for a belt. I don't always chase titles around. I wanted to fight John Jones. He just happened to have the title. I want to fight Anderson Silva, whether he's got the belt or not. I'd like to fight him right now.
So you would like, let's say, to go back down to middleweight? Is that it?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
And we will now go to Mike Chiappetta with Fox Sports.
Since we're on the subject of the Anderson Silva-Chael Sonnen rivalry, Dan, is there any case that you see that potential third fight happening in the near future, or no?
Well, not in the near future. I mean, even if Chael beats Shogun, he goes back down to 85. We got Vitor Belfort. We got, there's other guys that are in line right now for that shot.
Okay, I got a couple questions for Chael. You mentioned you changing your training camp sort of at the 11th hour, I think was the terminology you used. How disruptive was that for you? Was there any difficulty in designing your camp to your liking after relocating it on short notice?
Well, I never designed my own camps. I've got coaches, and I trust them. And, I worked with a new set of coaches for this. And I always hear guys say how everything's better when they changed and blah, blah, blah. But historically, it's not. Historically, when a guy switches camps, he doesn't tend to do as well. So it's a bit of an experiment. I worked very, very hard, but I worked on a lot of new stuff. And, I've seen other guys that generally doesn't work out, whether it's in boxing or in MMA. I can tell you, I got to work with some familiar faces, though. I got to work with some of my own guys from Uriah Hall, that Kelvin Gatslum, that were from The Ultimate Fighter this season. I got to work with. I've known Mark Munoz since the 90s, maybe even since the late 80s. So there was some familiarity when I was in there, but I mean, it's an experiment for me too. I'm in great shape. I worked hard. I feel good, and I expect to win.
So you sort of left it with a good feeling about the work that you'd done?
Yeah, yes. I was very, very pleased with the work. I was very pleased with everything, from the team, the coaches, the workouts, the facility. But it was still new. I was still out of my comfort zone. I don't leave my house very often. I never leave my city unless I have to. And I've been living in a hotel room for the last month and a half, and in Irvine, using a GPS to get around, because I didn't know where I was. So it was a little out of my comfort zone, but I put my time in.
Was this the first time you've trained with a different team for an entire camp?
Yes, the first time ever.
First time ever, okay. Had you worked out with like Mark or anybody from them in the past, even just here and there, or no?
I had never worked out with Mark. Again, I had a couple of guys from my season of The Ultimate Fighter that were in the room. I've competed against Mark, but we were never on the same side, never partnering up before.
Okay. And will you have different corners than usual too then?
No, it'll be my same corners. In fact, the corners had to be established almost 2 months ago, complete with birth certificates and Social Security cards and numbers. It was very difficult after what the city of Boston's gone through to get guys in, so we didn't attempt to make any changes.
Okay, great. And just one question for Shogun. Shogun, are you appreciative of how respectful Chael has been of you in the lead up to this fight? Is that something you expected?
Shogun, ele pergunta se você gosta do fato de que o Chael, na verdade, foi muito respeitoso até agora com você? Você ficou surpreso?
Eu não, acho que não fiquei. Ele já me elogiava há um tempo atrás, já nas minhas lutas, já falou bem de mim, mas isso não muda nada. Acho que a minha vontade de vencer, com certeza ele falando bem de mim ou mal, não vai mudar nada. A minha vontade de vencer é muito grande e eu acho que ele falando de mim bem ou mal não vai mudar essa minha vontade.
Yeah, it doesn't really change anything. He has said nice things about me in the past. But this really doesn't change anything. This doesn't change my will to win. Whether he says nice things or bad things about me, my will to win is just the same.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate it.
And once again, if you do have a question, please press star 1 at this time. And we will now go to Dave Diebert with Post Media News.
Hi, thanks again, guys. Chael, a quick one for you. You've had some positive reviews for your work with Fox and Fuel. Does that success, you're doing well there and seem to have a future. Does that success ever make it, a little less? Say you're having a bad day at the gym or something, and you think, I could be in a studio, I could be doing this, I could be doing that. Does it make your exit maybe from fighting into the broadcast world, a bit? Is it going to happen sooner than now that you do have such a nice option for post fight life?
I appreciate you watching those shows to start with. There's a lot of guys that can do what I do. There's a lot of guys that like to watch this sport and sit around and talk about it. I think that Dana White is one of the smartest guys I know, but how we ever convinced him to believe that's a job, I've never felt like I've had to work there. I've been offered a raise there. I told those guys, I'll take your money when you make me work. I could sit around and talk about this sport and watch this sport all day. And the fact that that entertains somebody is just a bonus. The fact that they've been fooled into believing that's a job is just a bonus. That's purely a hobby. I love it. I could sit on this conference call and talk about this card all day. I can hardly even focus on Shogun because I'm so excited to watch Overeem and Brown fight. We got Uriah and Alcantara. Everybody's underestimating this Alcantara guy. I can't turn around and not hear about Conor McGregor. I've never seen him fight. He's only fought one time, and he's getting compliments from guys that don't give out compliments. Michael Bisping, who's a complete jerk and doesn't compliment anybody, loves this kid and talks about him left and right. So, the fan in me comes out constantly. And, no, it doesn't distract me at all. I put all my time in the gym. I never miss a practice, whether I feel good or not. And I love the sport. But there's plenty of guys that can do what I do. We got a lot of great talent out there that can talk fighting.
All right. And just another quick one for Dana. I'm just curious your thoughts on this. Whitey Bulger, he was found guilty today on a bunch of gangland crimes, including 11 killings, if I saw the Wire story right. If you could share some thoughts on growing up in Boston, where Whitey was was such a big part of life there. Do we have you, Dana?
And we are losing audio from Dana. One moment, please. And Dave Scholler has disconnected. And Mr. Scholler is back. And he just disconnected again. One moment, please. Mr. Diebert, we'll have you reprompt. I'm going to go ahead and go forward with Mr. Perry Lefko with Sportsnet.
Dale, you mentioned, in your comment about about how you're a big fan of MMA, and I'm just wondering why you continue to fight why do you need to fight? Because I'm looking at someone like Bryant, tired, he has concerns about his health. Do you have concerns about your health? And again, what is it that motivates you to continue to fight when you really don't need to?
Well, first, I haven't reached my goals. And, your goals change constantly in this sport, depending on where you're at in the landscape, and everything changes routinely. But I haven't reached my goals. And aside from chasing a world championship, there's some guys I just want to fight. I don't know that Shogun's one of those guys, but a few of his friends are. And, I like to compete. I don't know any other sport. I've never played any other sports. And I love it. I love being part of it. I don't have a lot of friends, so it's nice to go to the gym and be in a social atmosphere, be around good guys. And I have a lot of, I'm very impressed with guys that can extend their career, guys like Bernard Hopkins that make all of us feel young again. People like Derek Torres, a swimmer from the Olympic Games that made the team at over 40 years old. I really admire people that can do that, and I think if you're healthy and you love something, you've got a chance to do it. That window is very small, and it is for me too. It can be over. Any day now. So I'm one of the guys that'll be forced out of this sport. I will stay in it too long, and because I love it, I'm not going to pull the plug on myself.
After your last fight, you showed some different emotions, and you weren't sure what you were going to do, and then fairly quickly afterwards, you decided to keep going. Do you have a plan now either way for what happens in the fight, whether you win or lose?
I don't necessarily have a plan, but I do like to look ahead. I don't like to focus on one guy. I like the distraction of looking ahead, and like I said, there's some guys that I want to fight. They're not always title fights. There's plenty of other big matches out there, matches that I just want to do. And if that brings you to the title or brings you closer, those are just byproducts. But, it's day by day. Getting through practice or getting through 2 workouts can be very tough at 16 years old, let alone 36 years old. So, it's day by day, and just try to move forward.
Okay, thanks very much.
We will now go to Heidi Fang with MMA Fight Corner.
Hello, thank you for the time. Just a quick question, actually. Is Dana White back on the call?
Heidi, he is not. He had to go to another meeting, so if you would be as kind to direct any questions to the remaining 4 fighters on the card, that'd be great.
Absolutely. My first question is for Shogun Rua. I'd like to know how much you've worked on your takedown defense in advance of fighting H.E.A.T.
Ela perguntou, Shogun, quanto você tem trabalhado na sua defesa de quedas para lutar contra o H.E.A.T.
Então, eu trabalhei bastante em defesa de queda. Eu sei que ele é um cara muito bom do wrestling. E também eu trabalhei bastante no jogo também, que é o Muay Thai, né? Então, eu espero na luta colocar no jogo na luta.
Okay. I've worked a lot on my takedown defense because I know that he's a great wrestler, but I also worked a lot on my game, which is my Muay Thai, because I really want to, implement my game on this fight.
Thank you. And my next question is for Alistair Overeem. How much do you feel that you have to come up big in this fight to really prove something here as far as your ability to be a contender in the heavyweight division?
Well, I don't know. I'm not really thinking about all that stuff. I just focus on my own thing, which is getting back on track, getting the workouts in, assembling a new team. I got a new coach, Mike from Mike's Gym from Holland, one of the famous striker coaches. So I just been focused on my thing and not really focused on what other people think of me or what's gonna happen after this fight or who I'll fight after. Just been focused on my own thing and getting back on track.
And you just mentioned that there's been a lot of changes with coaches at the Blackzilians camp, Alistair. How much has that helped with your training to have a various amount of different head coaches come into the fold there?
Well, I wouldn't say it's a good thing. But my head coach is Mike from Mike's Gym. So he's in Holland, so obviously I'll be a little bit back and forth in Holland whenever I have a fight for training. And he also comes to Miami, as he's here now. But, yeah, so I'm actually just focused on myself, my own camp. I train a little bit separate from the other Black-Brazilian fighters.
Thank you. And just one last question, if I could, for Travis Browne. Alistair has said that his experience will be an edge for him in this fight. Do you consider that to be an underestimation of your skill set and what you've accomplished in your career?
On paper, it makes sense, but I've been fighting with guys that have 3 times as much experience than I do my entire career. So, you know, I've had to learn. I've had to learn fast. I've kind of come up the hard way in the sport, in the sense of, you know, my training partners and my coaches, and that's been something that I've been, you know, I've been having to deal with since day one. So we'll see on Saturday. I mean, you know, unless he throws something at me that I've never seen before, you know, I'm not too sure that experience is really going to be the X factor in the fight.
Great, thank you for the time.
And we have no further questions. I will now turn the call back over to Dave Scholler for any additional or closing remarks.
Thank you very much, and thank you to all the media who joined us today. Thank you also to Dana, Travis, Alistair, Chael, Shogun, and Fernanda for your help on the conference call today. Before we wrap up, just want to run through the updated schedule of events for this week in Boston. It all kicks off tomorrow. UFC Fight Night, Conor McGregor, fan open workout. Fans are invited to Peter Welch's gym in Boston at 3 o'clock Eastern tomorrow. Conor's going to put on a light workout for fans and media, and then immediately following, we're going to direct our fans over to the Blackthorn Bar, which is in South Boston, and lucky fans who happen to go over there will get a limited edition Conor McGregor poster for coming on over and celebrating with us there as we return to Boston. On Wednesday, we have our open workouts. They start at 1 p.m. They're going to be on the arena floor at the TD Garden. Shogun, Chael, Alistair, Travis, Uriah, Yuri, John Howard, and Joe Lozon will be present at that event. Later that night, we will have UFC Fight Night Homecoming event. That'll feature Dana White, Forrest Griffin, and the 2 Octagon girls. That'll be at Barrio Cantina in Boston. That starts at 7 p.m. Thursday, moving right along, we have the press conference. That'll take place at Wang Theater. Shogun, Chael, Dana, Alistair, Travis, Uriah, Yuri, Joe Lozon, and Michael Johnson will be in attendance. That starts at 1 p.m. And then later that night, folks, a really cool opportunity for credentialed media members for the Boston event. We will have the Ultimate Fighter Season 18 screening of the first episode, about a 2-hour season premiere. Ronda Rousey, Miesha Tate, and Dana White will be in attendance at that event. It starts at 7 o'clock. For more information, you can contact Isabel Hodge from the UFC PR team. And then Friday, we roll into the Fight Night weigh-ins over at TD Garden. Everything gets kicked off there with fighters on scale at 4 o'clock. Huge sports weekend in Boston. We have the Red Sox, the Patriots, and then the UFC. So we look forward to seeing everybody later this week. UFC Fight Night on Fox Sports 1. Thanks for your time, everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's conference. We thank you for your participation.